This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, thanks for listening. This is Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Werner. I am a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today I have a good friend and author and doctorate in comparative literature and so many other things, and published author, and has really fought a battle against bullying and how trauma really affects the brain. Before I introduce my guest, I want to say hi to Ed behind the scenes, and even Ryan here from Moments of Clarity team. And this is our first time doing it Zoom live from the radio station, so things are evolving when we don't even realize them. Look
Hello.
at it, we get to see Ed. Hi, Ed.
Look at that long hair. I'm in need of a barber.
This is awesome. Like, I didn't know you were going to pop up on the screen.
I've got pandemic hair.
We all have pandemic hair. I'm so glad that we get to do this, though. No, your hair looks great, actually. Like, we all are suffering with the barber and stuff like that, but I'm just refreshed to see you, man. I missed you coming into the studio. This stay-at-home thing, it's hard. And Ryan, you can show your face too if you want to, but I know I'm gonna put you on the spot. But Ryan, you had a logo. But man, that's so great to see you here.
You too.
And thanks for doing this and everything. And this is something that we can move forward. And for going into the studio, he's in a place that I'm not even gonna go in there. But I want to thank you so much for everything you do, Ed, and for really putting yourself out there, making sure.
I have the cleanest, most sanitized hands in radio.
I bet. Are they starting to crack yet?
No, but it's well, I guess a little bit because it's starting to sting because I have to wipe down after every show. So, yeah,
it's definitely, it gets to you. I'll send you some lotion, some CBD lotion that I saw that's actually really healthy with aloe vera. I'll get you some.
Great.
I didn't even think about it. Hi, Ryan. I saw you pop your face in. He's behind the scenes so we can share that the Moments of Clarity show goes on to everything, the YouTube channel that we're doing and everything. And he's all the way in Puerto Rico. So, Ryan, thank you so much for being there. You don't want to show your face again. Mop in if you can. Anyway, my guest today is Dr. Jennifer Fraser, and published author. She actually wrote a book called Teaching Bullies, and it was a phenomenal book. Really protected a lot of kids, and she worked at a school, and saw kids actually getting bullied and didn't just stand by and watch, and fought the administration, published a book about it, had to leave her job, but now she's used her whole experience as a passion and advocacy and moving forward, and has studied about how neuroscience and DNA and bullying really affects the brain, and even moving forward, and published a new book. And I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity, Dr. Jennifer Fraser.
Hi, Tiffany. So glad to be here as always.
Thank you. This is new. This is the first time we are. Wow.
Wow, that's
Ryan.
Yeah.
This is your book, Teaching Bullies. Zero tolerance in the classroom or in the court, or on the court or in the classroom. It's awesome.
Yeah, I titled it that way because, we adults, we use that phrase all the time. We say, we have zero tolerance for bullying. And then when I actually started to engage in analyzing and researching and learning about this phenomenon, because it was lived experience for me as a teacher, I realized that we have to have zero tolerance for us as adults. We adults have to stop teaching bullying to children. It's learned behavior. They don't come by it naturally. It gets taught to them by adults. So this is why, and I called it court or classroom, because we make a lot of excuses for bullying when it's done by adults. We say, oh, it's just sports, or, oh, we're just trying to toughen the kids up, or they need to get, kids are too soft, or they're wusses. This type of language and thinking is really, when you look at it from a brain perspective, it's totally lacking in knowledge and understanding of how the brain works. So that's really what I wanted to do, was sort of shine a spotlight through psychology and neuroscience on really what bullying does to young people's brains, and why we all have to work together to absolutely stop it.
That's fascinating. And to take that and go an extra step further and try to figure out why, like what the result of things like that happen. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just like, we have zero tolerance on bullying. We have zero tolerance on trauma, assault, and things like that. But then you take it a step further and say, well, not only do we have zero tolerance, but let's just see what that actually what effect it has on people, and what happens to people when they are exposed to these things, and how it affects us. Just the other day, I mean, we've been talking about a lot on how this quarantine, the pandemic, is affecting us, how we're going to, there's states that are opening up, and I'm going to sidebar with this, but I want to get back onto the neuroscience of trauma and everything. But this is a pandemic that is affecting all of us, and how everybody's saying, this pandemic, how are we going to go back to normal? How are we going to go back to normalcy? We're sitting there conditioned on social distancing in our brain, isolating, don't go near each other. I have neighbors that are afraid to wave to me right now. They like to say hello from across, a driveway, across the street, because everything's like starting to get reprogrammed in our head to avoid people and everything. And now states are opening up today. Like, actually, I heard yesterday that May 1st, I think Ohio, Georgia, there's some all over the place that they're starting to open up because people are scraping by and needing to work. And I don't think that population, a lot of people are ready for it. But not only that, what do you think the pandemic, all of this fear and uncertainty has done to our brain, and how are we going to be quote unquote normal with society, with each other, when we're used to hugging or shaking hands and making eye contact, and how people just used to be 3 months ago. I don't know that it's going to ever go back to that. And how does that, all of this, I mean, I feel that all of this has traumatized us as a whole global society, the pandemic, the COVID virus, everything.
Yeah. Well, I think that you've just articulated exactly what the issue is. And it's really important, I think, for everyone to understand that while we obviously have to keep physical distancing now until we get a vaccine that we know works, we still need to do as much as we can to remain socially connected brain to brain, because the research is very clear that the human brain, like mammals' brains, are completely wired for social interaction, for physicality, for touching. And when we don't get that, it's extremely unhealthy. And then also, as you know, fear can be a really and have a negative impact on the brain. For us to be in a constant state of hypervigilance, or a constant state of stress, so that our stress levels are rising and rising, and we're not using very conscious techniques to lower our stress levels, is immensely hard on the brain, even arguably damaging for the brain. So I think what's exciting for me is this is an opportunity for us to say, hey, all of us, we need to start putting into place techniques. We can use the techniques right now during this lockdown situation we're in with an invisible illness that's killing people. And we can use it in our day-to-day lives going forward after the vaccine as well. Because there's a lot of people that live with very high stress levels, and they don't know how to bring it back down. And there's very specific techniques. That's what my latest book, that it's under review right now, and it's with editors, and we're just hoping for the right deal. It's called The Bullied Brain: What Neuroscientists Know About Brain Scars and How to Heal Them. And what I really wanted to talk with you about today is healing. How do we heal brains that have been hurt? And we can do it, and it doesn't cost anything. And it's that knowledge that I'm just really excited about, getting that knowledge out there.
Yes, and we're all need that, especially especially after the pandemic, and trying to reintegrate into society. It's almost kind of like, a prisoner, but institutionalized, and then having to reintegrate back into society, and, refigure their whole way of being. We've only been in here or quarantined or stay at home or recommended or whatever, probably about 4 or 5 weeks now. I know it's had a huge impact on a lot of people. I've been, hosting and participating in OCD groups, and a lot of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder people that are legitimately diagnosed are like, well, now society knows how we feel. We live like this, and this is what we feel like on a daily basis, and it's kind of like that. And then there's going to be people going back into with their normal, or try to get back to their normalcy, so to speak. When I say normal, I don't know what normal is anymore, so I don't want to just freely use that. But a hairstylist cutting hair with masks on, how do we use PPE, personal protective equipment, coming into my office as a counselor, when I'm going to see people with a mask on when I'm doing trauma care. It's just creepy to think, I don't know. And I can't do EMDR 6 feet away, just guided imagery. I'll tell you from the other room. It's not going to help. And I don't know. And on top of that, it's almost like I'd rather do virtual if I'm going to have to rather wear a mask. And I don't know. We're going to get into that, but I really want to find out how to heal from trauma, because I think we've all been traumatized from this pandemic. And on top of that, people that have been traumatized before this, through disorders, through sexual abuse, through physical abuse, through divorce, through anything, are now dealing with CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. They're traumatized on top. It's compounded. It's over and over and over again. And veterans and people that have been in prison before. And then we're going through this pandemic and our freedom's taken, kind of, in a way. And then on top of that, if you want to go to the store or whatever, you're risking catching something, or, suffocating to death, who knows? And we don't understand it. They say it might be airborne. And then you just don't know what to believe. And so the fear of the unknown kicks in, the anxiety. So we're re-traumatized, or on top of any trauma that I had before, which, affects the brain even more so, because it's complex, compounded over and over again. And then it's even more triggering for a lot of people. So, but let's take our break, and then we're going to come back into the healing part, because I think we all need to hear this so that we can reintegrate back into society. Not only that, but after a lot of us that have experienced sudden death, sudden loss, a lot of people have lost their loved ones to this COVID virus as well, this trauma that's affecting everything. Not just the COVID virus, but I'm applying that because that's what's currently going on right now, but it's in addition to a lot, And I want to welcome callers to call in. You can come with us live. It's on toll free 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. We are actually on live, on the radio live, and on Zoom live, on Facebook live, and this is the first time we've done the Zoom live, thanks to Ryan Moulton, who thought of it too. Behind the Moments of Clarity sign. We have a great Moments of Clarity team. We do. And thanks to Ed and everything. So anyway, 866-826-1340. We're going to take our first break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Do you ask yourself any of these questions? Will I ever be able to get out of debt? Will I ever be able to retire? How am I going to pay for my children's education? How do I begin saving for my family's future? And if something were to happen to me, will my family be taken care of? Have you struggled in finding the answers? Forever Forward Financial can help answer these and many more questions about your financial future by teaching you how money works, by providing you the financial education you seek, by assisting you in making the right retirement or educational decisions that are best for you and your family, and by helping you take the